So in this lecture, we will be talking about the verbs. What are the verbs that we can use it in Arabic language? There are 4 types of verbs. We will be introduced to them right away. So the Arabic verbs will be our 5th class in this course. Our learning agenda for today, so the sequence, we are going to follow this exactly the same sequence. First, we will talk about the present tense in Arabic language. Then we will talk about the past tense. Then imperative form, which is the command. When I'm requesting someone to do something, this is the imperative form. And then the future tense, which is what is going to be happening in the future. So starting with the present tense. First, we will we will understand the definition. Just notice that I'm using exactly the same colors to express it in Arabic language. So expressing an act is happening now. الفعل المضارع, which is the present tense. يعبر عن, expressing فعل, an act that يحدث الآن, is happening now. So we will have some examples here. يأكل, just try to notice that I'm using the diacritical mark here because we had a full lecture about the diacritical marks. And we will be repeating that all over our trip here to learn this Arabic language. So يأكل, يلعب, يمشي, as you can see here, I did not use the ضمة, which is the diacritical mark, because here is a vowel. يكتب, write. ينام, sleep. يتكلم, talk. So play here is going to be our example to be used throughout this presentation. So we have to note some points here. يعلم, as you can see here, يعلم, in red colors I have the letter ya and the letter ba. Ba has nothing to do with that. This is original in the letter, but I make it red just to notify you about the dhamma here. Dhamma is one of the identifications that once we see it, we know that we are talking about present tense. And adding ya, of course. When you are adding ya and dhamma, we don't need subject in this verb because those two indicators made the listeners, the one that you are talking with, understand what you mean or who you are talking about. But what gives the verb the shape of the present symbol? How can we know that this is a present symbol? So just to have an example here. يلعب الولد بالكرة. The boy plays with the ball. As you can see here in English we use S, but in Arabic we use ya and dhamma over the letter ba. And the dhamma on الولد, just to express the subject as we mentioned in the critical marks lecture. S here, as we just said, expresses by ya and dhamma on the last letter of the word. Both of them expresses the S in the English language. So what are the suffixes, prefixes that we need to add to have the right verb, to have this verb in the right way? These suffixes will be added to the roots, but we have to consider who we are talking about. So for illustration purposes, as I told you before, I'm going to use exactly the same verb, which is لعب, which is play. I'm going to use it in all of those pronouns. So أنا, which is me, I, أنا. هي, she, هي. هو, he. هما, both, dual. We don't have this in English. Hum, they. هن, they. نحن, we and us. We or us. So these are the pronouns that we can use them to express the verbs in a way that we make it easy for you to understand. So أنا, هي, هو, هما. Just notice here, hum is for masculine. هن is for feminine. So these small things that we need to just pay attention to. like both, we will understand that in the couple of slides. Exactly, we're going to deal with it with the masculine and feminine. So أنا, as you can see here, أنا ألعب. I just added the letter ألف before the main verb, which is the root. لعب. لعب is in the black color. This is the root. لعب. So I just added ألف to express myself. Even if I remove the word أنا, still it expresses me. تلعب. هي تلعب. I can even remove هي. I can just have it تلعب بالكرة. تلعب بالكرة. We would understand that we are talking about someone who is a female. هو يلعب. يلعب. هما يلعبان. يلعبان. So I added ya and alif noon. This alif noon, which is at the end of the word, to express both people, dual. Waw noon expresses masculine group of people, which is masculine group of people. يلعبن, the noon here expresses a group of people, but a feminine group of people. نحن نلعب, I just added the noon here just to express نلعب نحن. So I can remove all of these pronouns. All of these pronouns. I can just remove them. I don't need them. What I need exactly is only the word with the exact suffix or prefixes added to the word. As you can see here in English, we only express the word play by play, plays, and both they for feminine or for dual, we just say they for that, and that would be sufficient. So they, and they. When you are using they, we would understand. But suppose that I'm talking about someone, then I said in English they. You would say who they. But in Arabic, it's easy once you have the suffixes and prefixes. So the past tense here expresses an act that happened before. This is exactly the same definition in English language. In Arabic, the past tense is الفعل الماضي, ماضي, past. يعبر عن فعل حدث سابقا. Already have been done already. It's done. So أكل, as you can see here, the critical mark here we are using is فتحة. أكل, لعب, مشى. I can even forget about this alif, this فتحة, because مشى, it's a vowel again. And we have understood in the previous lecture about the vowels, it has different treatments, exceptional. All of the vowels are exceptional rules. كتب, فتحة again. نام, كتب, wrote. نام, slept. كلم, talked. So as you can see here in English language, sometimes we don't use ed to express the past tense. We use ate, for example. We don't say eated. We say ate, wrote, slept. And in Arabic language, sometimes we use some suffixes, sometimes we remove them. Depends on the word and if it does have a vowel letter. So just we have notes. لعب, as you can see here, the diacritical mark I used to express the word to be in the past is فتحة, which is, as you can see here, over the letter ba, which is the last letter of the word. The last letter of the verb, we just put فتحة. That expresses that it's a past tense. ed expressed in English language, as we can see here. So if I want to put it in a sentence, as you can see here, usually when we are expressing sentences, we are putting everything to be in the past tense, to have it subject, verb, subject, and object. Usually when we are trying to teach someone sentences, even in English language, SVO, VCO, VSO, so it's exactly the same. So لعب, ed here, played, فتحة expresses the tense. But again, what we can add to the root to understand who we are talking about. The most important thing here we have to consider is who we are talking about or who we are addressing. Just to have everything clear to us, we need to understand who we are talking about and who we are addressing. I'm using exactly the same verb which is لعب, played, for illustration purposes. I'm not going to change the verb. So أنا, أنا, me, هي, she, again exactly the same list that we had before in the present tense. Here exactly the same, both is dual. They for masculine is different than they for feminine. So for female, for feminine, it's hunna. This noon at the end of hunna, we call it noonun niswa. Noon that is being used for a group of people whom are females. And hum is for masculine. Nahnu, we or us. As you can see here, how can I use these prefixes or suffixes that I can add to the verb to have exactly the same word and who we are talking about? In the first sentence, I'm talking about myself, so I would say أنا لعبت. Even if I remove the word أنا, still the sentence is correct. I don't even need to write أنا or the one who I'm talking about, because the suffix and prefixes are doing the trick here. هي لعبت, I can even discard the word هي and just say لعبت, so I would understand that I'm talking about someone who is a female. لعبت, and even the tense, I can understand the tense here. لعب, I can understand that I'm talking about someone who is he, and لعب, which is a tense for the past. لعب, لعبوا, لعبنا, نحن لعبنا. Here, as you can see here, the واو here in لعبوا, we call it واو الجماعة. واو الجماعة, as I just explained, واو الجماعة is a group of people whom are masculine. Like in when we are talking about females. هن لعبنا, noon here for لعبنا is نون النسوة. There are some terms that we are using in Arabic language just to express or for the teaching purposes. Usually we don't use it, but we don't use it in such, but for teaching purposes. So here when we are saying لعبوا بالكرة بالأمس, لعبوا بالكرة بالأمس, لعبوا here واو الجماعة, as we just explained. I would write it here just for your to understand what we are talking about here. And this is واو الجماعة. And then لعبنا, the noon here, as you can see here, noon here is نون النسوة. نون النسوة. Every time you would pass by these things, you won't find it in the regular daily speeches, because these are only for teaching purposes. نون النسوة, واو الجماعة, we don't use this in the normal life. So as you can see here in English language, we used the word played to express all of these things. As we have explained before, that in Arabic language we only care about masculine and feminine. We don't have even the word it in Arabic language. We don't use it. Even for the cat, for example, we say cat, is it masculine or feminine? So cat is feminine usually, like the sun and the moon. So whenever it's masculine, then you would use the things that is for masculine, which is she or he. As you can see here again, they, we are used they for both, which is dual, or for feminine or masculine in English language. It doesn't make any differences. But in Arabic, we just need to notice masculine and feminine. Masculine, everything is about masculine and feminine. We need to understand, is the word masculine or feminine? So for now, imperative form. Imperative form is expressing an act that is to be done, which is a command. I'm asking someone to do something. So it's a must. It's something that is a must. You have to do it. We call it al-fi'l al-amr, command. So we would have some examples here. First one is kul. As you can see here, the root for this word is akal. Akl. The alif has been gone. Why? Because it's a vowel. again, as we have explained this in the critical marks lecture, whenever in the word there is a vowel letter, this vowel letter will be treated differently in the imperative form. So أكل كل, إلعب, امش, even امش, we don't have ya in walk. امشي, there is no ya. This ya is removed because of the command form or the imperative form. اكتب, write. نم, it should be نام. نام, sleep, نام. So we removed the alif here because the imperative form, it deletes everything that is vowel. You have to think about the vowels here whenever you are talking about the imperative form. But this is really funny because the first letter we should add to express the imperative form is alif. أكل, اكتب, إلعب. So it's alif, but still you have to remove it. You remove the alif from the roots, so we would express it with the imperative form alif. As you can see here in the word walk, imsh, we don't say imshi, we say imsh. In the word nam, we don't say nam, we say nam. In the word akala, we don't say akala, we say kul. Here we would have some notes we have to consider when we are talking about the imperative form. The diacritical mark we have to use in the last letter of the word of the verb that expresses the imperative form is sukun. As you can see here, sukun and e or a. It depends again in the word letters or the word diacritical marks. So mostly we use alif, which is e, ilab. Ilab is a command. It's a command. That's why we used alif and sukun on the last letter to express the shape of the imperative form. So I've just put it in a sentence. Ilab bilkura. Where is the subject in this sentence? There is no subject. There is sukun, there is alif to expresses the imperative form, but where is the subject here? We don't have the subject because it has been covered by the alif and the ba. We can't say il'ab al-waladu bil-kura. We can't say that. The subject will be removed because it's expressed by the verb itself with the suffixes and prefixes. We don't say al-walad. So how can we know what exactly the suffixes and prefixes should be added to the root to have the right verb tense? Again, we'll be introduced to exactly the same list that we had before. For illustration purposes, I'm only going to use the verb la'iba. Of course, we have to consider who we are talking about. So again, أنا, هي, هو, هما, هم, هن, نحن. أنا, me, هي, she, هو, he, هما, both, هم, they, هن, they form feminine, نحن for we or us. So when we are talking about the sentences here to express the imperative form, as you can see here, we don't need to express me or we because we are talking about someone to do something. We cannot ask ourselves to do something. We do it. We just do it. So for she, il'abi, il'abi, we added the alif, as you can see here, alif, and then ya. This ya, we call it ya'ul mukhataba. Ya'u al-mukhataba. The one that we are addressing, we are using ya only if she is a female. If she is a female, we use ya. We call it ya'ul mukhataba. Il'abi means play. So for he, we don't use anything. We just use the diacritical mark, which is sukun, and we use the alif. For both or dual, we use alif. This alif we call it aliful ithnaini. Alifu al-ithnaini means the dual, the alif that has been that is used to express a dual, two people. We call it ألف الاثنين, like واو الجماعة or نون النسوة. Usually in the daily life we don't use it. Here العبوا or العبنا for they, feminine. All of these things, as we can see, are repeating themselves. نون النسوة, واو الجماعة, or ألف الاثنين. Always you would see these things, but in the daily life, as we said, we are not gonna see it. It's only for teaching purposes. As you can see here in English language, we don't need to write she or he or both or they. We don't need to. We just start with the word play, and then we say whatever we want to say. We don't even need to say she or he or both or they. We don't need to say that. Now let's go to the future tense. Future tense definition exactly the same of the English language, expresses an act that will be happening in the future. In Arabic language, the future tense is الفعل المستقبل. فعل المستقبل, which is the verb that has to happen in the future. سيحدث مستقبلا. Let's have some examples. سيأكل, will. سيلعب, will play. سيمشي, will walk. سيكتب, will write. سينام, will sleep. سيتكلم, will talk. Did you note something? Did you notice something here in these verbs? We add seen to the verb. And yeah, but what about this word in the middle? سوف. This word is seen, واو فاء, سوف. Actually, in the future tense, sometimes people, they don't want to say, for example, if I want to say سوف ألعب, I don't say سوف ألعب. I would just say سألعب. I would remove واو and فاء. The diacritical mark we use for the future tense is سكون again. We add seen and ya to the verb to have the same expression for the future tense, or سوف. So whenever you want to use سوف, or if you want to use seen and ya, it's up to you. It's just in case you want to deliver your information fast, you would just say سوف or sa. This expresses exactly the same of the word will in English language. Here let's have some example. سيلعب, as you can see here, سيلعب. I added seen ya and sukun. Will play with the ball. سيلعب بالكرة. But what are the suffixes, prefixes to be added? Again, for the future tense, we have to consider who we are talking about. This is the most important. This is a key word. We don't need to forget this. For illustration purposes, again, I'm going to use exactly the same verb, which is لعب. Again, أنا, هي, هو, هما, هم, هن, نحن. Let's have some examples here for each one as we used to. I just added sa, but where is ya in the first sentence? Ya is for, as you can see at the third sentence, is for huwa. Usually we expresses any tense by using the verb he. So سألعب بالكرة. غدا ستلعب. سيلعب. سيلعب. هو. سيلعبا. سيلعبون. سيلعبون. As you can see here, سيلعبون. I'm using exactly the same two letters, and then I have some suffixes added to the verb, like سيلعبا, سيلعبون, سيلعبنا, or سنلعب. In English language, will play. Whatever you're using, you would use will play, and that would be just considered right. But in Arabic language, the suffixes and prefixes are playing a major role to understand what we are talking about and whom we are talking about. So let's have some small activities here. First activity, I would like you to identify which of these verbs is present. First, we need to think about the present verb. Present verbs are usually had some letters which identify to us that this is a present verb. So the first one is akala, and we can see here the critical mark used in akala is for the past tense. Daraba, again the critical mark used here is fatha, and we don't use fatha for the present verbs. Tara, sakaba, hamala. Kul is an imperative form. Yarmi, I used ya here. Ata'a, as you can see here. Akala, daraba, all of them the critical marks is fatha, but yarmi here, forget about the last ya. The last ya is vowel. That's why we don't say yarmiu. We don't put dhamma here. That's why yarmi is the right word. Let's have another activity. Turn the below verbs to the future tense I. So I'm talking about myself. First thing, we need to understand whom we are addressing. I'm addressing myself, and we just understand that there are some suffixes, prefixes should be added to the verb to express a tense that we are talking about. So if we are talking about myself, I will add in these letters, in these words, I will be added some prefixes, which is سأأكل, سأحمل, سألعب, or سأسكب. Here let's have a very wide activity to express everything that we just passed through this lecture. So here we'll have some different verb, which is kataba, write or wrote. We will have some suffixes, prefixes to be added to this word to express the tense and to express to whom we are talking about, he or she or dual or they. Notice here that if we are talking about dual, there is feminine and masculine, and they we have feminine and masculine. The first thing we need to understand that kataba is a root word. That's why you can see that it's repeating itself in all of these forms, in the present, in the past, in the imperative form, and in the future. But what makes the trick is the suffixes and prefixes that should be added to this verb to expresses whom we are talking about, without even having the pronoun to express that. So the root is kataba. If you are talking about kataba, he, and present, it will be yaktubu. Yaktubu. Try to notice here. Kataba, we don't have any suffixes or prefixes. It's kataba, and that's it. For imperative form, I used alif. Uktub. For future, sayaktub. Kataba, there is no prefix. Uktub, as you can see here, dhamma here in the alif. Yaktubu. Kataba, there is a fatha here. Uktub, sukun. Sayaktub. Sometimes I would say sayaktubu or uktubu or kataba, but sometimes I don't even pronounce these diacritical marks. There is something that we need to understand. As you can see here, for the past tense, kataba is kataba, exactly the same root. So what makes this different? What makes me sometimes pronounce the diacritical marks and sometimes I don't? Actually, there is one small thing here. I can just explain it in this way. Suppose that this is a word which has a sukun at the last letter, and then next to it there is another word. Actually, if I said the word and then I stopped, then the diacritical mark I need to mention is sukun. I don't need to change it. I don't need even to give it, even if it's dhamma or anything else. But if I go with the sentence, then it will be a dhamma or any diacritical mark which is suitable to be used in that place. So this is the trick. If you stopped, you would put it sukoon. Like in here, we just have a word. It's not even a sentence. So whenever we come in a word, we just say yaktubu, yaktub, katab, uktub, sayaktub. I don't even give the diacritical mark its right position. So for she, I'm using ta. Taktub, I would know that I'm talking about someone who is she in the present. Katabat, I know that I'm talking about someone who is she in the past tense. So by this ta, we call it ta at-ta'nith. Ta at-ta'nith. Ta at-ta'nith is the female ta, which is used only for the female. As you can see here, I'm going to you will notice something after I finish with this activity, that everything that is related to female, it will be ta. But in the imperative form here, this ya is ya al-mukhataba, as I just explained 2 slides ago. In the previous 2 slides, I expressed that this ya is ya al-mukhataba. Uktub is uktubi is exactly the same. Uktubi, I'm using exactly the same alif with exactly the same diacritical mark. Nothing changed here. Uktubi or uktub, if it's she or he. As you can see here, I know who is the one that I'm addressing without even putting this word in a sentence, with just the prefixes and the suffixes. Sataktubu. Sataktubu. I know that I'm talking about someone who is a she, who is going to write in the future. But of course, I don't know what exactly she's going to write, because this is just a small word. This is a one word. This word is just expresses the time and who I'm addressing. Sataktubu. Sayaktubu. Whenever you see sayaktubu, whenever you say ya, then it's he. Whenever you see ta, then it's she. Let's go to the dual now. Taktuba. Taktuba. Again, for female, for feminine, we use ta. And this alif is only used to express both or dual. Taktuba. For masculine, we use ya. Yaktuba. Yaktuba. As you can see here, in she, I use ta, taktub, and in the dual, taktuba. Exactly the same, I'm using ta. However, in masculine, I'm using yaktub. Even in she, in the past, I'm using ta again. Even in the future, I'm using ta again. Regardless of the imperative form, ya al-mukhataba, this is different, exceptional rule. And for he, in the present tense, and in the dual, I'm using exactly the same, ya. And in the future, ya. I'm just trying to connect the information for you to make it easy for you to understand or to retain. So katabata, katabata, I know that I'm talking about 2 people whom are females, and there are 2 only. Kataba, kataba, masculine. Uktuba. As you can see here that uktuba, uktuba for feminine or masculine, they will be the same. Uktuba, uktuba. That's why imperative form is really different in everything, in the vowels, in the dual, in everything. Even in the when you are addressing she, again it's different. Sayaktuba, ya again, and alif. This alif is being added. As you can see here, in the future, they are all the same, but this 2 alif that I added at the end of the word, just to express the dual. We call it aliful ithnaini, as we just said. ألف الاثنين. So سيكتبا ستكتبا. Let's go to they. يكتبنا يكتبنا. Think about it. Why I used the letter yeah here. يكتبنا. Actually, يكتبنا here, we can use it if we are talking about some group, a group of girls whom are not in front of us, who are not present. Maybe they are in the class and I'm outside of the class and someone asked me what they are doing. I would say يكتبنا يكتبنا. But if they are in front of me and I'm addressing them, I would say تكتبنا تكتبنا. So I can use يكتبنا if they are not present in front of me while I was talking about them. And ta, I can use it, this is the regular one, I can say تكتبنا, which is exactly the same rule that we have just learned in the dual and the she. So this is, we call it ضمير الغائب, which is the non-present. It's not present in front of me, so I would use يكتبنا. يكتبوا for masculine, يكتبوا. And I'm using واو الجماعة again. واو الجماعة and نون النسوة, as we have explained before, we don't use it in our daily words. We just use it only for teaching purposes. يكتبنا كتبنا, which is past now. I'm talking about a group of female, I say كتبنا. Or a group of masculine males, I say كتبوا. Or اكتبنا اكتبوا, as you can see here. Alif, I added alif to express اكتبنا, and I added alif to express اكتبوا for the group of people whom are males. Again in the future, سيكتبنا يا أنت تا ستكتبنا, I'm addressing them. سيكتبنا, I'm addressing them to someone. سيكتبوا سيكتبوا, it's for the group of people whom are males. I just added all of this information in one slide just to have everything connected, to be able to differentiate between things, the prefixes, suffixes. I know if it's coming each one in each slide, it would be a little far away from each other. The information would be a little bit of hard to be understood. But I just consolidate all of them in one slide just to have it easy for you to compare, to have the comparison that you would say. As you can see here in green, I'm just making a circle. واو الجماعة, it will be used in every word that is expressing a group of people whom are males. And noon, which is noon niswa, expresses a group of girls, women. Noon niswa, we use it just to express them. So واو الجماعة and noon niswa. And again, we don't use these two terms but in teaching purposes, for teaching purposes, that's it. As you can see here for the imperative form, I'm using alif as a prefix for each root to express the imperative form. And what makes it different is the suffix. So uktub, if there is no suffix, that means he. If there's ya, uktubi, it's she. Uktuba, it's two female or two males or two females, it doesn't make any difference. Uktubna or uktubu. I wish that this would be sufficient and everything is being explained in this slide would be easy to understand or retain whenever it's needed. Thank you and see you in the next class.